So that's my shocking
That's
secret.
our 50th episode surprise. Woohoo!
I don't know. Would we schedule our time to go out to eat?
No.
I don't think so.
This is Sistas Declassified, the podcast where
Taylor
and Taryn,
your virtual sisters, share experiences, insights, and of course the juicy secrets that never leave the sister circle.
So shh, listen up. The Declassified Convos are starting now.
Welcome back to Sistas Declassified. We're the real life sisters who decided to start a podcast, and we finally reached 50 episodes. Put in some claps or snaps or something.
Confetti.
Yeah.
But before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with a friend. We would love for more people to be watching us so we don't talk to ourselves for another year.
And for those of you who have been watching and keeping up, we see you. We love you.
Thank you.
All right. Before we get... Nope. What am I trying to say?
Declassified moment for today?
Yes, that's the one. Like, we've been doing this for a year and I'm still lost in the sauce. Today, we're going to get into some declassified gossip because we've been doing 50 episodes.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, it's not that gossipy, but a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not a gospel happening today.
I think it's gossip. We might share some truths we've learned, some opinions we've upgraded, and maybe some things we've let go of since we first started this podcast. Because as you may know, you may not know, we mostly started this because we felt like we didn't spend enough time together and didn't know enough about each other as adults.
Mm-hmm.
We're 4 years apart, and growing up, to me, that meant a lot.
She thought she was my mother.
I was, oldest child and all. If you're an eldest child, specifically a daughter, you get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
But she says this, but she disappeared from my life around third grade.
So like I said, we started
She
this
wasn't
podcast.
mothering me.
I was mothering from afar. We started this podcast so that we could get to know each other a bit better as adults. And we've kind of just been letting you all in on that learning and been sharing the things we've learned in our 30 plus years of life. So today, I think it would be fitting for us to just share a little bit about what's changed in the last year and pat ourselves on the back.
Pat.
Because I say this to you privately often, but most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. And we have been out here grinding while also spending time together, and it's been fun.
Yay. Yeah, it hasn't been too much. Well, I will say the filming part isn't too much of a grind. It's the editing part that feels like, hate it here.
And if you know any editors who are looking to help some podcast girlies out, let us know. Or
We
if
have
you are.
money. Duh.
I was like, do we? Maybe. Let us know your budget. We can work something out. So I think we could just start today by sharing a little bit about what 50 episodes have taught us. We have some questions here that I think would be good for us to answer. You could say a little, you could say a lot, but the goal is just for us to take a moment to reflect on what we've learned.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I want to start with the something I've learned about my voice and perspective.
Okay, go for it.
Because I think, as I shared in the episode previously, I'm a girl who loves a journey and loves to monitor my self-improvement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think this podcast has helped me to reshape my perspective on myself and the efforts I put into my life every day. Because sometimes I can think I'm doing bare minimum when maybe I'm doing more than that. And so it's allowed me like a place of reflection. So that's been really nice. And I encourage people to, even if it's outside of a podcast, maybe even just pick a friend to like have a self-reflection conversation with. Because us talking about self-growth every week has put me on a trajectory to focus on that as well. Like I already was, but I guess this allows me to say like, am I practicing what I'm preaching?
Mm-hmm.
And am I only doing it in front of people, or am I doing it all the time? Because it's really easy to, like for being vegan, for example, I'm vegan Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends it's like, I don't know.
You go with the flow.
I go with the flow. But I think in having this podcast or like having places to have conversation about stuff, it allows me to either take something very seriously and be vegan all the time because I'm over here talking about it, so I better practice what I preach. Or it's like I can name that every day doesn't have to be perfect, and this has allowed me to reflect on that here too. So that's one thing that's been supportive or helpful for me.
I think for me, in terms of our relationship, I think this is both an internal and an external shift that I've experienced since starting the podcast. It's just that we have more in common than I thought we did. Not that I thought we were completely different people. You probably have heard us say throughout episodes like, that's true for you, but not true for me. Like, yes, there are still some key differences in how we perceive the world and like how we move. But overall, we're pretty aligned on most things. I think like morally, she's making so many faces. I guess she doesn't agree with me. I think we are more similar than different, and that has been a learning for me. I also think this is going to sound awful. The other day, someone asked me like, you and your sister, you guys have a podcast. You're really close. Like, you must be best friends. And I kind of just stood there and didn't know what to say. And it felt really awkward because then everyone looked at me like, oh, like, is this a sore spot? Are they not friends? And like, she's my sister, and that's okay. We don't have to define it with like other worldly things or other titles. Like, she's my sister. Don't fuck with her. I'll fuck you up. Like, that's all you need to know. But like, do we need to be best friends as a label? I don't think so, but she's my sister. And so that's it. Like, that's my
good
girl.
Enough.
Right. That's good enough. That's my girl. She knows things about me nobody else knows. We talk about family, all sorts of things. But like, I don't know. I just feel like there used to be this pressure to call my sister my best friend because that's what you're supposed to do. You either have a best friend sister or a sister you hate. And I'm like, I can't just have a sister. And so
real question.
And so that's just been a shift for me. It's like we have more in common, and one of those things that we have in common is okay being sisters and calling each other sisters. And I don't have to be like, my sister's my best friend. I hug her every time I see her.
Right.
Like, this is just who we are, and that's okay.
So acceptance.
Yes, acceptance.
Yes, acceptance.
That was a long way to say acceptance of our relationship. But it's also grown, right? Because we talk more, sometimes because of the podcast. But I think the podcast has opened the door for us to just communicate more regularly, which is nice.
Yes, it doesn't feel as awkward, I think. It wasn't awkward. I don't know if awkward's the right word.
Transactional? I don't know. Like,
maybe.
I don't know. I can't even, we have an indescribable relationship, guys. Just know this is my sister and I love her, and that's all you need to know.
Same. But yeah, I think that is a fair realization. And I would love to know if anybody else relates to that realization in adulthood as well with their sibling or siblings who are further apart in age. Although we're not that far apart,
right,
but it kind of can matter.
I think it did growing up, ages and stages of life. Like, there's a difference between
an eighth grader and a senior.
Exactly. Or like a ninth grader and a college student, you know? So I think you used to feel like our age difference was not that big. I'm glad that in adulthood you can reflect and say, yeah, okay, ages and stages are different. But I'd say once you turned about 25, yeah,
25 is crazy, but I'm gonna just let her have it.
I would say once you turned about 25, I was like, okay, we're the same age. You disagree? What age was it for you?
I've never felt like you were just so old and mature.
It's not about maturity. It's about stages of life.
Remember the conversation about like fun or not fun? I think that was my issue. That
I'm not fun, so what?
Grandma. We didn't even say like sister. You were grandma. I think the reason she's like we're more alike now is because now I'm also a grandma.
Well, welcome, girl.
And I wouldn't even say a grandma. I'm a mother.
And you became that at 25 in my eyes.
Okay. But anyway, those are just some things that I guess these 50 episodes have taught us.
So that's just a little bit about what we've learned or reflected on in the last 50 episodes. This episode's going to just be a little bit different than our usual. We have a couple different segments we want to get through, and I think a fun one that we're going to do next. Taylor's not excited, but it's okay. She's going to tell us some truths or not truths. No, truth or truth. I can't read. Truth or truth. A little declassified confessions. There are some things that we haven't shared with you on the podcast, even though we're pretty honest on here, that we're going to reveal today. And we have more questions, some juicier than others. But We have some things we want to get off our chest about our lives and what's been going on behind the scenes. And so you go first.
Well, the first question says, what part of healing feels hard or still feels hard after 50 episodes of talking about healing? And I think overall it's just the acceptance piece of where I am. Like that's what we were just kind of naming in our relationship. But I think it's also something in my day-to-day life of knowing that I want to be elsewhere, but also knowing that that takes time. So like in multiple avenues of life, like in my career, I'm working towards my licensing. That takes time. So I'm not there. Then I have my hobby that I am working for a certificate or towards a certificate for. Not there. Right? I have, in my mind, I have goals for 30 that I want to complete. Like for my body, like physically, not there.
Well, you got a few more months.
And right, I do have a few more months, but I think that is the part of healing that still feels hard, is like accepting that all the things are going to take time and I have to wait. And it's not really passive waiting, it's active waiting, but it's not fun.
You don't like that shit.
I don't like it. It's really hard when you're making the right choice for yourself every day. Like we talked about last week, things being isolating. This isn't necessarily that it's isolating, but it's like it feels stagnant. And I'm a person, like I named, who likes to be on a journey, and I guess I don't. I like the idea of a journey.
Sounds good.
But while I'm actually on it, waiting for things to happen, I'm bored.
That's real. Achieving things isn't always like exciting. And I would say, especially the things that you want to achieve, they're a lot more like regimented and routine based.
Right.
And so that's not always the most, you have to find ways to make the journey exciting.
Right.
Outside of, I guess, your life outside of those journeys.
Yes, exactly. But then that makes me tired.
Right. Because it gives you more stuff to do.
Exactly. And so I'm just needing to either be okay with things not being exciting right now because I'm focused, or I need to be okay with being tired. And that's the healing I'm still working through.
Okay.
So if you see in the next few episodes that we're talking about self-acceptance,
you know why.
it's because of me. But yeah.
Okay, the next question is for me. What's a goal you keep pretending you care about? Well, I think it's not that I pretend that I care about it. It's more that my level of care has changed. I talk about content creation a lot on here and wanting to be a content creator. And then if you ask Taylor how much time and energy I put into this podcast and where I could put more energy into like the production and the shorts and all the things, I must not care that much. And even in my own content, like on my own channels, Tara and Alyssa, follow me everywhere. I've only recently gotten back into creating content. There's another truth I'll reveal later that speaks a little bit as to why, but it's mostly because I don't actually care as much as I thought I did. And when I originally set out on this journey, one, it seemed easy. And that was 8 years ago, 7 years ago. It seemed easy. It's not. Taylor talked about the editing of this podcast. That's like one of the many things that we do, right?
And I think you have to be willing to take a step out on yourself, like in faith. And you don't want to do that.
And I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like I'm like halfway in, halfway out. And if I really, really cared, or if I cared more to, I guess, be vulnerable and like put myself out there even more to do what it would take to make it. And what does that mean? I still haven't really defined that. So I think there's just a lot of work that comes with being a content creator that I just don't care to do. And so I have to be really honest about what the outcomes are then of the work I do or don't do. And so I think I am now letting go of, I don't want to say I'm letting go of calling myself a content creator, because I am. We're here doing a podcast. This is content. We are creating it. But I think I have to let go of the idea of specifically being an influencer. Because one, I don't care to sell things. And then two, I don't position myself in a way to try to like
have
it
like you think, or
right, to have influence in a specific area. Like there's nothing I really, really care about enough to talk about it all the time, to be like, this is my stance, this is what I care about, and this is what people should follow me for. Because honestly, I want you to follow me because you think I'm cute and you like me. And that's not enough.
I mean, for some of these people, it seems like that's what they be famous for, but
it's true. There are some unicorns where it seems like that's the case, but they're usually not doing it alone. They usually have a team behind them, and there's usually more thought to it than that.
But also, you say unicorn, and I think that's the thing that maybe we can. The next question is talking about what belief about Black women we're still unlearning. But I think we don't allow that same conversation of allowing Black women to be mediocre or not. And of course, I don't want us to be out here trying to be like, oh no, people just talk about Alex Earl.
I knew you were going to say Alex Earl.
I never seen that girl's content a day in my life, but I know I've seen a lot of videos talking about how mediocre she is, and she's still famous.
Sure is.
And so it's just interesting that Black women can't be that same way, or just they can't show up authentically. They have to show up put together to gain any sort of appeal.
Or not even put together, but in some sort of character. Because I personally feel like the content that I've shared about myself in my life, sometimes it hits, sometimes it don't. What does hit mean? I don't know. It's all relative. But like, I genuinely feel like I'm pretty boring. And like, but that's just my life. And I'm not
posting to entertain.
I'm not posting to entertain per se. And I'm not going out of my way to like be anybody who's not Taryn online. And it feels like white women in particular get to do that in ways that Black women do not seem to get to do that, or at least we can't start out that way. There has to be something that we're really like giving of ourselves,
to be educating you on something, or we have to be
and I don't care enough about doing that to do this. So
yeah,
that's that on that.
But it is the thing that I'm unlearning too, because even if I think about who I follow or why I follow them, it's often for the same thing. Aside from like a family channel, I think those are just cute, and I guess that is also entertainment, right? They have to have a gimmick in order for me to be entertained by them. But people who are just showing up as themselves, scroll. And I don't know what that says about us, but it's just something that I'm trying to assess about myself. And I've been following more just like people who have like 100 followers, and like, but I like what they're talking about, so why not follow them? It's been more interesting for me and more entertaining as well.
On TikTok, I'm definitely good to follow somebody who doesn't have a lot of followers, as long as they post consistently. You can't post once a month and then think I'm going to follow you, because you don't post enough. So I just don't. What am I following you for if you don't post content? You know,
because that once a month post gonna hit.
Do it. Maybe some people can do that.
No, right? I don't know.
Some people can do that. I just haven't found a formula for myself that works with the once a month, and I don't typically follow the more quote unquote boring once a month posters. So I just need to stop pretending like I care about it in that way.
Yeah. But I guess that was something online that I'm unlearning. I don't know if there's a real life example that I have, but I guess it could go to real life too. Just also being able to not show up as a character, but showing up just as how I feel that day.
Amen. Okay, our last question for this truth or truth section. What's one thing the listeners would be shocked to know about you? And this one's for me. Yay. Well, if you know me in real life, or you follow me on my personal socials, then you won't be shocked. But if you are just a listener of the pod or a watcher on YouTube, then you may have noticed, you may not have, but we have a new sister or brother on the way here.
Yay.
Joining us. Well, they've been here for a while. But
at least the last 10 episodes.
I mean, more than...
No.
Well, I can't do math. Anyways, I'm about 5 months pregnant. This has been a secret that has been hard to keep a little bit, because I'm definitely an oversharer. But the first trimester was rough, y'all. I don't know if you could tell in the episodes, there were some days where I was not feeling it. Not feeling it. I was pukey, I was hungry, I was tired, all the things. But we're now past most of that. mostly just hungry now and still a little sleepy, but feeling a lot better. Don't know what this will mean for us in the future in terms of where the podcast is going to go once the little one is here, but shocking, we're adding another family member to the family
right here while we record, and then it'll be fun.
Yes, but if you, like I said, if you haven't seen the announcements on my personal pages, then you might be shocked to know.
Yay!
You probably could tell in the last episode I was busting out my pants a little bit.
She was. I was telling her that outfit wasn't doing anything for her. It was. I wish y'all could have seen her without the jacket.
Look, I just wanted to be comfortable, and those pants were comfortable, even if they didn't look comfortable.
They didn't.
Look, I am refusing to buy clothes. I've been borrowing clothes from anybody who will give me some clothes that fit. So I was actually just here. We recorded our moms. I was here at mom's the other day getting some new shirts, nice and flowy, loose, so I can wear them to work. Although at this point, people at work know too. My old boss.
I don't know how they couldn't know. Should you stand up?
Do I stand up?
Stand up.
Oh my gosh. There's not, I mean,
they're just like.
You can kind of, I mean, if I do this, you can tell.
You can tell.
You can tell.
Don't let this girl lie to herself.
Anyways, no, a lot of people were shocked to find out. Like, even just in this last week at work, somebody was like, I don't remember what we was talking about, but then somebody was like, do you want to have kids, Taryn? And I'm not a good liar. And so I just kind of looked at them at first, and then I was like, I'm 5 months pregnant. And then everybody in the room said, what? Yeah, girl.
They're idiots.
No, they're not. Lying. People don't pay attention to us as much as we think they do. And that's number one. But number two, I just wear sweatshirts and sweaters and oversized clothes. Unless you was really looking at me, you wouldn't know. So they didn't know. It was like 5 or 6 people who were like, what? Can I give you a hug? And I was like, I don't like all this attention. But yeah, people didn't know. Although the other day, my old boss, he found out, he was told maybe like 3 weeks ago. He came up the stairs and was like, you're expanding. I said, don't make me go to HR on you. I don't know what's with all these older men trying to tell me what I'd be looking like. Y'all better.
Not you're expanding.
He said, that's the word he used. I said, don't make me go to HR. He just started laughing.
Being funny.
Yes, I call him my work dad. So safe space. We can joke like that, but he wouldn't say that to nobody else. But I was like, and Vashon was right there, and Vashon just started cracking up.
Right,
started cracking up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't make me go to HR on you, because I won't. But you better watch it, because I will. Mm-hmm. So that's my shocking.
That's secret. Our 50th episode surprise.
Woo! Mm-hmm. Shocking reveal. I was trying to get a soundbite for the beginning.
Right, I'm like anime.
All right, so the secret's out, and I feel like we could just go ahead and wrap it up and end it here. But the last thing we're going to talk about is just what's coming next. Because like I said, we might have a little baby sitting on this couch not the next time we film. We got a little bit of time.
Right.
But by the end of the year, we might have a little baby sitting on the couch with us doing the episodes. So I thought it'd be good for us to share an intention we have for the next 50 episodes. We do 50 more episodes. Y'all gotta watch for us to do more episodes, Lord.
Honestly, truly. I guess if I were to say or think about an intention, I think it would be that I'm trying to talk more clearly. I talk very roundabout because I don't think through what I'm about to say before I start talking. So I would like to think through what I'm going to say a little bit more as an intention, but also to maybe have more fun here. I think that we talk about growth and stuff a lot, and I think that that's so important. But there's other parts of life besides growing and improving, although I can look at every area of life and see how growth and improvement is necessary.
It's just who you are, girl. It's okay.
It is. I can't help it, but I think I could think about life in a different way. So that's an intention for myself.
Okay. For me, I think I have 2. One is to continue even through the birth of my child, because I think it could be an easy out to be like, I'm having a baby, girl. Good luck. Start doing these solo episodes by yourself. But I don't want to do that. Like, I do look forward to our time together. And so I want to not get ahead of myself and thinking I'm going to have to quit this podcast just because I'm going to be a mother, but instead, like, really go with what the time is giving me and staying present So whatever that means, even if we got to skip a week or two here or there, because, you know, life, I want to make it to the next 50 episodes. So that's intention 1 for me. And then number 2 is similar to yours in terms of just like having more fun on this podcast, bringing more personality to it. I think I have the opposite problem of you. I think a lot before I speak. And so I do also speak roundabout, but I speak roundabout because I'm trying to like not offend anyone or hit all of the possible perspectives.
But fuck these people. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Say what you need to say.
But I do want to be better about like allowing my first thought to be my thought. And sometimes I might need to clarify it, but other times, girl, that's just what I said, you know? So those are my intentions for the next 50 episodes.
Yes. Good intentions. And hey, it might be that we pivot what we talk about some days because you're not feeling it, right? And it could be navigating the life of a mother, right? Because our other goal was to talk about the millennial struggles, right? And maybe it's not millennial struggles, but you still a millennial, so it's still a struggle that you could discuss or share. And you're not the only person who's having a baby right now. There's plenty of babies that I've been seeing popping out on my timeline. So you're not alone in that experience. And I'm sure someone would appreciate hearing the honest transparency rather than the cultivated.
Because y'all be lying. They do.
Uh-oh.
About pregnancy, the whole 9. They be lying. I mean, I haven't gotten to the birth yet, but.
Well, and, you know, I don't know if it's always lies, but everybody's experience is different. So it could be nice to add yours to the pot of people's lives.
Yeah, I've already been talking to people who are glad to hear that, like, we're supposed to be wrapping up, but like, you know, most people are like really excited and da-da-da-da. I never thought I'd be a mother. So I'm taking it day by day, and it's helpful for some people to hear that I'm not like planning the nursery and did it. Like, I'm just here.
She's surviving off vibes.
I'm a vibey vessel. We just here.
Right.
Trying to make sure this little one comes into the world healthy and happy, and everything after that, we're going to see.
Well, stay tuned for that. I don't think we really have a Sister Circle question, but I guess you could drop down below some things you would like to see from us. What would you want to hear us talk about? What are some questions you maybe have that we could answer? That could be fun.
I think it'd also be nice to hear what you've gotten out of these first 50 episodes from us. We talk about, there's a few people who watch us a little more consistently than others, and we'd love to hear like why you keep coming back or what it is about us that you think we should keep doing.
Because she keeps wanting to have these friendship episodes and I don't want to.
They be hitting.
Let us know. We really would love the feedback. But anyways, thanks for watching. We made it to 50.
Woo!
All right. Bye.